seizing central space immediately, opening diagonals for piece development and setting the stage for dynamic play. Fianchettoing the bishop later will be key to controlling the long diagonal and challenging white's central ambition. Initiating the open Sicilian. This knight jumps out, controlling the center and preparing kingside castling while subtly threatening a d4 pawn push. Opening the diagonal for the king's bishop now prepares a solid structure against white's aggressive intentions. Opening this central highway immediately challenges black's pawn structure and aims to seize initiative. Opening the center now. You've accepted the pawn's invitation to a sharp, open game where piece activity will reign supreme. Opening the central files instantly. White's knight seizes a key outpost, challenging black's pawn structure and preparing for aggressive piece play. Developing the knight to f6 challenges the central pawn and prepares for castling, setting the stage for active piece play. Establishing an immediate presence in the center. This knight aims to solidify white's central control and prepare for further development. Securing the b5 square prevents immediate knight incursions and prepares for a potential queenside expansion. Developing the bishop to e2 reinforces the central pawn structure and prepares for castling, a crucial step towards king safety and activating the rooks, while also maintaining a flexible pawn formation. Unlocking the bishop's diagonal and preparing to castle kingside. This move strategically shores up the center while anticipating future pawn breaks. It also subtly contests the d5 square, potentially restricting white's piece development and setting the stage for a more compact, yet flexible, pawn structure. Securing the king's safety is paramount, allowing your pieces to develop more freely and prepare for central action without immediate kingside threats. Securing the king with castling is the immediate priority, and this develops a piece crucial for that safety while preparing to connect the rooks later on. Pushing the f-pawn aggressively carves out central space and prepares a potential kingside pawn storm, but it also opens a diagonal for black's queen and bishop, potentially creating dynamic counterplay if white isn't careful. Securing the king's safety is paramount in this dynamic Sicilian setup, and castling immediately addresses that crucial need. The immediate danger of white's aggressively advanced pawn wall is now significantly mitigated, allowing black to consider developing pieces more freely. This strategic retreat also prepares for potential pawn breaks in the center or on the queenside, laying the groundwork for future counterplay. Shifting the king away from the d-file, a potential future battleground, and providing a crucial escape square should the central pawn structure collapse. This repositioning prioritizes king safety and subtly prepares for kingside expansion or a defensive regrouping. Reorienting the queen to the c7 square prepares for potential kingside play and supports the d6 pawn. While also avoiding immediate pressure from white's knight, it creates a flexible pawn structure for black, potentially enabling pawn advances later on. This positioning anticipates future pawn breaks and aims to maintain balance. This prophylactic pawn push aims to curb black's queenside expansion and prevent the annoying b5 maneuver, potentially securing a slight spatial advantage on that flank while keeping options open for future pawn advances. Solidifying the center and preparing for a pawn push. This knight repositioning enhances defensive coverage and subtly aims to exploit the queenside imbalance you've created, establishing a flexible pawn structure. This move anticipates black's potential queenside expansion by subtly preparing for a later b4 advance, while also offering a timely retreat for the bishop should aggressive tactics emerge on the d-file. Preparing to contest the central e-file, black repositions their rook, signaling a willingness to engage in positional maneuvering rather than immediate confrontation. This subtle redeployment aims to bolster the knight's defensive capabilities and potentially support a future kingside push, creating a more robust pawn structure. Unlocking the central diagonal for the bishop creates immediate attacking potential, eyeing the weakened kingside and opening lines for potential future assaults while simultaneously reinforcing white's pawn structure. Preparing to contest the queenside with the rook. This pawn break on b5 seems to be the underlying ambition, aiming to loosen white's queenside structure and potentially create a passed pawn later. Preparing a queenside pawn storm while reinforcing the central d4 square. This play aims to restrict black's queenside expansion and potentially create an outpost for white's pieces. Preparing to contest the central files and bolster the queenside. This maneuver looks to activate the bishop to a more dynamic diagonal while simultaneously offering potential defense for the b7 pawn. Rerouting the knight from the central tension to a more defensive outpost on b3 aims to support the queenside pawns and potentially prepare a queenside expansion later, while also avoiding potential tactical threats on d4. Black shores up the queenside, a sensible step to prepare for potential pawn advances from white's a pawn or simply to gain space and influence on that flank, while simultaneously connecting the rooks for future coordination. Unlocking the e-file for your rook is the immediate objective here. Subtly preparing to contest it should black decide to challenge the center with moves like d5. This repositioning also offers a degree of safety for the rook, tucking it behind the d4 pawn and preparing a potential doubling of rooks on the open file later on. Bringing the bishop back to c8 appears to be a defensive measure, aiming to protect the d7 square and perhaps prepare for a later e5 break. However, it feels a bit passive, allowing white to solidify their pawn structure and potentially exploit the open files with their rooks. This repositioning might also hinder the development of black's queenside initiative, as the bishop's influence on the long diagonal is now diminished. Consider if there's a more active role for this piece or if the current setup truly addresses the immediate positional challenges. The pawn thrust forcefully into the center, immediately challenging black's cramped knight and bishop, aiming to pry open lines and gain crucial central space. A brave confrontation. Black steps into the immediate clash, immediately exposing the e5 pawn to the eyes of the knight and bishop. This creates a dynamic pawn tension that will likely resolve swiftly, potentially opening the d-file for the rook. The choice to capture opens up possibilities for white to reinforce their central presence or perhaps engage in a pawn race that could prove double-edged. Consider how this pawn exchange influences piece activity and potential tactical lines ahead. Breaking the pawn chain around the king disrupts black's carefully constructed defensive setup and opens lines for white's pieces to exploit. Exchanging pieces here. The queen steps onto a central square, directly challenging the newly formed battery and initiating a critical pawn race that will define the game's subsequent direction. Opening the f-file now creates a dynamic tension, potentially weakening white's kingside pawn shield but simultaneously unlocking immediate attacking possibilities against black's position, particularly along that newly cleared diagonal towards the queen. A dynamic piece repositioning. This knight bravely ventures into white's pawn structure, seeking both active posturing and potential disruption of white's central control. A bold repositioning of the queen to f2 aims to exploit the open f-file, preparing for potential future attacks on the enemy king and reinforcing the pawn chain's integrity. Harnessing the open file. Black boldly anchors the rook on the f-file, initiating a potent counterplay aimed directly at white's kingside fortifications and contesting crucial central control. The knight sacrifice opens a diagonal for the queen and creates a dynamic imbalance, potentially exposing black's king. A daring re-engagement of the queen, embracing the complexity and sacrificing immediate piece activity for a crucial central pawn structure. This recapture, 20 qxd5, dramatically reshapes the battlefield. Instead of consolidating, black opts for an immediate confrontation, forcing white's hand and creating a dynamic imbalance. The king's pawn, so recently advanced, is now a pivotal point of contention, and the queen's repositioning hints at an aggressive intent that might seek to exploit the open central files or target white's potentially exposed monarch later on. It's a move that prioritizes direct counterplay over passive defense, signaling a willingness to embrace sharp, tactical lines rather than a quieter positional struggle. This decision injects a potent dose of urgency into the game, shifting the focus towards immediate tactical opportunities and potential weaknesses that arise from the altered pawn chain. Opening up the queenside with the bishop sacrifice at b6 feet aims to dismantle black's pawn structure, creating immediate tactical opportunities and potentially isolating the enemy king by removing a key defender. A crucial defensive maneuver is initiated, seeking to safeguard the bishop on c8 from immediate threats and prepare for potential piece exchanges, while simultaneously reinforcing the pawn structure and looking for opportunities to activate the dormant queenside pieces, all within the complex spatial pressures created by white's central pawn advance. Liberating the bishop from its pawn-bound confinement opens up an immediate threat to black's queenside coordination, aiming to disrupt the harmony of their pieces and potentially create weaknesses that can be exploited later. Unleashing a bishop to the edge of the battlefield here, black aims to reposition its pieces for an assault on the g2 king, perhaps hoping to exploit the slightly exposed nature of white's monarch after that early king walk. This active placement could also serve as a prelude to a queenside pawn advance, aiming to gain space and open lines for attack. Alternatively, it might be a strategic maneuver to deter white's queenside expansion or prepare a regrouping that facilitates a central break, focusing on the cramped queenside pawns. This maneuver aims to free the beleaguered knight and prepare for a potential pawn push to dislodge black's bishop from its active post. It's a subtle repositioning, acknowledging the awkwardness of the knight currently trapped behind its own d-pawn structure and seeking to improve its scope. The idea is to create more breathing room, potentially opening lines for attack or defense as the game progresses. Rethinking the defensive structure, rfc8 repositions the rook to contest the open c-file, anticipating a potential clash of heavy pieces and aiming to disrupt white's initiative on that flank while preparing to potentially exploit any weaknesses that arise from the pawn structure. After white's latest bishop maneuver, reclaiming the open d-file for attack and mobility is the immediate aim, seeking to destabilize black's queenside structure while simultaneously preparing for potential piece exchanges that could open lines towards the enemy monarch, unleashing a dual threat on the queen and the central pawn structure. Black immediately challenges white's recent advances. The exchange of queens undeniably simplifies the position, aiming to leverage white's slightly more active pieces and the lingering weakness on black's queenside. By removing the most powerful attacking force, white seeks to transition into an endgame where coordination and minor piece activity will be paramount, potentially exploiting black's somewhat passive development on the queenside. The queen trade now simplifies the position, leading into an endgame where black's bishop on e4, although active, might become a target as white consolidates pawn control, opening a diagonal for the bishop and forcing a tactical decision. This piece relocation aims to exploit the potential weakness on the kingside and disrupt black's harmonious development. Snatching the pawn is a bold gambit, sacrificing immediate piece activity for material gain. But it drastically opens up black's king to discovery attacks and potentially leaves the queenside vulnerable to white's centralized pieces. Recapturing that bishop unleashes a powerful rook battery, aiming directly at the now exposed dark squares around black's monarch. Trading the queen for 2 bishops is a significant development, and black's choice here, recapturing the bishop, aims to simplify into an endgame where material balance might be deceptive given the queen's absence. However, that rook on d1 is now completely unguardable, creating an immediate and severe material deficit that will require extraordinary resourcefulness to overcome. The rook's return to the d-file signifies white's firm grip on the open pathway, aiming to exploit the lingering weakness on the queenside, particularly the isolated c2 pawn, which now presents a delectable target after black's bishop sacrifice, forcing a crucial decision about the impending endgame scenario. The rook finally unpins itself from its defensive post, eyeing the now unprotected d1 square with potential for counterplay, though white's queen stands ready to contest it. A daring knight sortie. This piece aims to disrupt the pawn structure and establish a presence deep within enemy territory, potentially forking pieces or creating weaknesses. Seizing the opportunity to reclaim material, black's rook dives deep into white's territory, aiming to exploit the compromised queenside pawn structure and create immediate threats against the now vulnerable white king. Securing the king's position becomes paramount after the exchange of queens, and the pawn push aims to shield the monarch while potentially creating escape squares and preparing for future pawn breaks or piece activity. Black's bishop vacates the now open e7 square, preparing to join the defense of the kingside, but it's a passive redeployment that doesn't immediately address the precariousness of the kingside pawn structure. Initiating a strategic repositioning to gain control of the crucial c6 square. This knight aims to disrupt black's developing harmony and potentially isolate the rook on b2. Repositioning the bishop to f8 offers some defensive capabilities, preparing to potentially challenge the open d-file should the rook on d1 advance further, and also allowing for a more mobile king should the situation demand it. The rook establishes a crucial foothold on the 8th rank, aiming to exploit black's awkward bishop placement and potentially disrupt their pawn structure on the queenside. Seeking to shore up the king's position and potentially create a safe haven on the queenside, the move prepares for future defensive maneuvers. Unleashing a pawn storm on the kingside, white aims to disrupt black's defensive setup and potentially create attacking opportunities. But this advance also weakens the kingside pawn structure, demanding careful calculation. The pawn structure has been dramatically altered, opening up the g-file and creating immediate dynamism. This capture, while seemingly natural, sacrifices pawn structure for initiative on the half-open file. The key will be whether black can quickly mobilize their pieces to exploit this newly created central pathway before white consolidates. Opening the h-file with this capture dramatically alters the pawn structure, creating a clear path for your rook and aiming to exploit the newly exposed kingside. The rook's sortie to the 2nd rank targets the open file, aiming to disrupt white's pawn structure and potentially create passed pawns down the line. Observe how it immediately puts pressure on the weakened c2 square, a positional vulnerability born from the recent exchanges. Asserting dominance on the queenside, the knight establishes an advanced post, eyeing potential threats and controlling vital squares. The Black King, emerging from its protective shelter, now finds itself an exposed participant in the unfolding endgame skirmishes. A bold maneuver that invites tactical scrutiny and potentially compromises its safety amidst the contested central files. Reclaiming the open file is paramount, solidifying control over the d-file and restricting the opponent's bishop's scope. Fortifying the queenside pawns. a5 aims to solidify your position by preventing white's knight from invading and creating weaknesses. This proactive step acknowledges the material imbalance and attempts to neutralize potential attacking avenues for your opponent, particularly on the queenside. Unlocking the d7 square with the knight ignites a powerful pressure against black's 7th rank, and hints at a swift endgame advantage by centralizing this piece and preparing to infiltrate enemy territory. The pawn push on the h-file, aiming to liberate the bishop, creates a significant structural weakness that could become a target for white's remaining pieces. Seizing the opportune moment, white's knight embarks on a decisive journey, permanently altering the material balance and forcing the opponent's hand in a rapidly simplifying endgame. Focusing the king squarely on the battlefield after such exchanges often signals a player's readiness to embrace the endgame's stark realities. Leveraging piece activity over material. A decisive king hunt commences, aiming to dismantle black's weakened pawn shield and expose the monarch to relentless pressure. The king now ventures forward, seeking refuge on a less exposed square, a common instinct when faced with a threatening rook on the 7th rank.